Hello and welcome to Crossing the Line, a podcast while pushing the boundaries about daily opinions and seeing how far people can take a joke. I am Z.
And I am D, and today we are joined by M.
Heyo.
And our episode for today is dating apps and the dating dilemma.
All right.
And as most of you know, we usually start off with a question or end with a question. But, Z kind of forgot and got trigger happy last episode. So you guys weren't able to hear our question for you. So today we are trying a different thing and we're going to start off with it. And our question for today is, what do you think is the biggest dating dilemma?
All right. The question, so you said we're going to start with it. You said the biggest dating dilemma. All right.
Yeah.
If M, do you want to take the right away or do you want one of us to go right away? We're going to let you take the reins so you're our first guest.
I'll let one of you guys take it.
All right. I would honestly say today's like the biggest dating dilemma that's out there is, I would say honestly is honesty and communication. I don't know if you guys use TikTok much or if you go on like YouTube a lot or see in the news sometime like with celebrities, there's always someone being cheated on or getting divorced or going to court or something that's always being a negative impact. And especially on TikTok, I don't know how many times on TikTok I will see people say it's like, oh, it's always the woman's fault. Now, I'm not saying that, but that's usually what TikTok says. That's like I said, I think that's my biggest dilemma is the communication and honesty and loyalty. How about you, Darren?
I think kind of pinning off of that, I think just being in the public has a big thing to do with it all. Like as you were saying, like you see a lot of these celebrity couples, and I feel like a lot of people set their standards to fit in that bubble. And then once they break up, it's like, oh my gosh, like how can I make a relationship like that work?
Any input from you, M?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the relationship with communication, especially with trying to rush things.
Okay, can you elaborate more on that?
Like I feel like the whole thing with people either cheating or things going south tends to be because people try to rush things and it just pushes them in the wrong direction instead of figuring out what they truly want.
I could definitely vouch for that. I know I'm going to kind of pull a little off on that too, actually. I know exactly what you mean because like there's some people today, like now it's like, especially when you start to get older, and this is going to kind of lead later on into the episode, like perspective from the young and old. When you're getting older, like D here, sometimes you just have to rush.
Excuse you.
Sometimes some people feel like they have to rush to get a relationship because they feel like they're going to have a family. They got to like get a home right away. They got to set up their whole future within 24 hours of meeting someone. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some people I do know that have found love at first sight. They were together like within weeks after they started dating, they were engaged, and then within a year they were married, and they're still married today right out of high school. And they were high school sweethearts or middle school sweethearts, whatever you want to call it, or whenever they met. But some people can do the lifestyle of speed, but I want to say honestly, like 90% of the population, it has to be taking your time, taking that moment to look and see what you want, because people just rush it.
That outside pressure too, I feel like a lot of it has to do, from what I've noticed, is like kind of going off, this is kind of maybe talked about in the later on in the podcast, is just that between that older and younger generation. Because I know people, that friends of mine, that like their family's like, oh my gosh, you need to get married, you need to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you have to take your time. And I feel like that's a big dilemma too, is like the pressure of feeling like you need to find someone.
I can agree with that again. Anything again, by the way, M, by all means, jump in. I forgot to mention this beforehand before we start doing like any going over the info stuff. By all means, jump in. If you ever want to put any info in, just jump in. Just by all means.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people that have high school sweethearts, fell in love right away, had a happy life, still have a happy life, And I know some people that actually felt like they had to settle down and force themselves to find a relationship because they didn't want to be lonely or they were scared to be lonely.
Mm-hmm. Kind of feel like they just settle.
Yeah, like they settle instead of trying to find what truly would be good for them.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that was what we felt like. Well, that was back to the biggest dilemma. Now let's move on a little bit forward, because obviously we could definitely keep rotating this around in a circle, and I would love to. But I know some people want to sleep, and some of us third shifters are going to be up all night long. So the next part was dating apps. How do we feel
See?
about dating apps?
Now that I think you could almost put dating apps in part of the dating dilemma today. Like
Okay.
kind of meshing the two. I feel like dating apps make it seem as though there's this timeline that and it speeds up that process, I feel like, of getting to know someone. I mean, I am from the younger generation, but I feel like my idea of a relationship is like you meet someone and then you slowly get to know each other. Where now like you have these dating apps and it's just go, 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 like let's have coffee, let's go get drinks, and then it just like I feel like it speeds up what used to be what happened like previously or in the past or in like the older generation.
Okay. How do you feel about dating apps a little bit there?
Yeah, as a dinosaur, using dating apps when I was younger versus dating apps when I was older. When I was younger and dating apps first came out, it seemed more relaxed. It seemed like you could actually like converse with people over time and get to know them better. Now, jumping back in and being on like dating apps now, it feels like you're like trying to do a speed run.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting there and it's like, okay, you matched with this person. Send them this to boost your chances, and then go on your first date, type of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm. That I can vouch. I will say one more thing off of that though. So I'll be honest. I wanted to be have more knowledge or research into this whole dating app scenario. Cause you young whippersnappers. I downloaded about 12 dating apps and I made a profile on every single one. And I went through and I wanted to see, okay, what is the biggest like deal about them. Someone that I use, and we're not sponsored by, of course, is like Bumble. I think there was one called Hickey. I tried Tinder and I deleted instantly, and I'll explain why. I tried, I think it was like Woohoo. Where the hell else did I try? That was just some. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but like I tried a good handful of them, and I made an account, and I made accounts in each, and shockingly, I made a few matches, but they weren't like what people think is like how you guys are saying that you're finding someone to date. These were people sitting there going, "Hi, I am blank, and I saw your profile. I think you look cute. We should talk more. What's your name?" And it's like, okay, well, in most of these dating apps, your name is your name, your physical or legal name. Not, like, "Hi, I'm SpongeBob. Shit like that. It's more like, it was more of like, like, "Hi, I'm Z." Obviously I use my real name. And I had a few conversations, and I did tell them, like, some of them, because I said some of them, I'm like, just, this is just more of like for like research purpose reasoning, fuck English. I can't speak. But I explained to them what I was doing. Like, I'm not here to look for a fling. I'm not here to look for a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the people are into today. I'm here to just do research to see how many people I can get to interact on an app, how it interacts, and how the interface is. And the biggest thing I've seen with dating apps, they are very, very money hungry. One app, you can send 5 messages. Once the guy, and I'm going to emphasize that on the guy, once the guy sends 5 messages for $5.99 a month, you can continue messaging. I'm like, wow, what a load of shit. I go through and I made an account on one of these sites or one of those apps as saying I was a girl. Girl did not have to pay for messaging. And surprisingly, I got no hits, but I've
I
seen
would.
that. Oh, thank you. I definitely see like it's more towards one way. And not to like try to get sexist or anything, but like from what I've experienced with all these apps I was trying out, or explored, they're very, I guess you could say, money hungry towards men. Not all of them. Some of them were just money hungry right out of the gate. Like, hey, you made a profile for $50 for a month. You can have an account. Well, I ain't gonna pay $50 a month. And also another one of those is just like Tinder. Tinder, I started within 48 hours. I got like 10 matches, and they're all saying down to fuck. And I'm like, what the fuck? Tinder literally became a hookup app, just like how everyone else has been saying. Nope.
Oh yeah.
Instant delete, gone, out, and that was that. The other ones, I had a few good conversations, but I told them flat out, hey, just here for research. That's all I'm doing, just checking out the apps. Some said I was an asshole. Some said I broke their hearts. And I'm just like, oh, boo-hoo. And then that was it. So yeah, I definitely feel apps today are more money hungry than what they really should be. And it's more of like for one night stands than just like, hey, you're looking fine, baby. So, but how about you though? Back to you, D. Almost called you the wrong letter.
I feel like Tinder, I know I brought this up to you I feel like it'd be an interesting experiment to go on Tinder, maybe take your top like 5 dating apps. And each dating app, you can put like what you're looking for. And I want to know how many more matches you would get if you put like something casual or don't really like want something short term compared to like I actually want a relationship. And I feel like your numbers would be drastic. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. I just personally, from like experience and just talking to some of my other friends, like that's just a lot of dating apps nowadays. Is like you can't find decent ones where it's like, okay, maybe I can find someone to like settle down with. Well, maybe not even settle down with, because I guess we were talking about that. Like you don't want to settle for someone, but I'm not like trying to bash dating apps. I do know I have some friends who've like got engaged from the person that they met on there after like a year or two, and it's like working great. But I don't know, from personal experience, I just think dating apps tend to like want money, like even for swipes and to get boosts on different apps, like you have to pay money for that. And it's like, what's like, that's just not even dating at that point. It's just more about the money.
You're not wrong. How about you there? How do you feel?
Yeah, like definitely Tinder, I feel like has turned into the online bar dating of basically meet and fuck somebody. Uh, so around here where I'm at, uh, obviously you got Tinder, but Meet Me and OkCupid are also popular apps. Now, when I was in the dating scene online, I'd say I'm gonna date myself here. 10 years ago,
Old ass shit.
okay, dinosaur. OkCupid was actually a good app to find people that actually wanted to connect and get to know you. Now, when I created a profile on OkCupid, because I'm like, okay, it worked last time. Well, I guess it didn't, but it worked last time. So I created a profile, and literally the first 5 to 10 messages, just titty pics and hey, want to hook up and fuck.
Yeah, I do feel that I feel is also just part of the younger generation in general. Because it's like I'm gonna give a little bit of a backstory, not too much. So M and I've known M. I mean, we've met online in gaming years ago. I mean, we're talking like early Xbox 360 days. I mean, shit, we've been friends for probably almost 15 years plus now online and that stuff. And it's like, there's some people that can get that online friendship or online, like, like relationship or group or whatever it is. So don't get me wrong. But it's like, we grew
You actually
something.
have friends.
Oh, yeah, I actually got friends,
19 years.
It's been 87 years.
74 years ago.
Back in my day when I took a shit.
It was
But
me.
it was me. But no, it's like I was saying, like, there's some, like, back then, like when, now, like, well, I'm trying to say between me and M, like as a friend group, we grew, we knew each other, like, so we know each other for years. Where now, just like, again, it's a newer generation. It's like, here's a tit pic, down to fuck. Hey, let's hang out. Or, hey, how much money you got? Are you going to pay everything for me? Are you going to be my sugar daddy or sugar mommy? Everything is just so, it doesn't feel real anymore. That's how I feel the dating app world now is too. It's not real.
It feels like a facade.
It's a distraction.
Yeah, it's a distraction from like what's actually real and actual like relationships and what dating's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. So the person I met now, and I'm having a wonderful time with, both of us met on an online dating app. But it was funny because when we were on the app and we were active on the app, you get these people that are, they feel real. And then you're talking to them, then like they send a message or two, and then they cut it. And, you get ghosted. So since we've both been inactive, let's say me and her were dating for a few weeks, so we weren't on the app. We were talking to each other. All of a sudden, like both of us, like, wow, why are our inboxes blowing up so much? Like all of a sudden, since we're not using it.
I can
So
see
it's
that.
like, yeah, it's almost like there's like fake profiles out there just to get you back to the app to talk to other people.
Or you wonder if like the app puts your profile out more for people to swipe on when you're not using it, so then you want to go back and use it.
Exactly.
Yep. Or, sorry, not to cut you off. Or it could be money hungry. They realize, hey, you're not using it. You're not getting our ad revenue, because we all know there's ads on every fucking app you use. I used my calling app on my phone the other day to call out, and I had an app on the bottom of my dial numbers. I'm like, I'm giving an ad to fucking dial. At this rate, we're going to be dialing 911 after watching a 30-second ad of Raid Shadow Legends. And it's like, what happened? Yeah, you stabbed me 27 times, but I got the new legendary character from Raid Shadow Legends. Hooray! And then that's it. It's, like I said, there's ads everywhere. It's all money hungry. Don't get me wrong. Nothing's free in life. But holy shit. Just like how you said, like you were saying before, those apps, as soon as you go inactive, all those profiles start. And I've looked at the reviews. There's a lot of those reviews I've seen. I feel like that's either friends, family, or someone that's the developer made new accounts to say, 5 stars. I got my true love and found my husband or wife on this app. And it's like, oh, cool, nice. And then it's like you go through and look, and it's like, how the fuck did you pick from this? That one's literally a robot. It says, I am the Terminator. Like, what the fuck?
I just feel like with dating apps too nowadays is like it's so superficial. You all like you find someone, you grow old, like you're not gonna look the way you do now. And I feel like all dating apps do is play into like your social media and like your stereotypes and like the status quo of like finding someone like appearance wise that you would want to date. Wherein like it doesn't give you the personality of a person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a snippet of that person, and you don't even know who that person is until you actually get to meet them.
Yeah, that's not wrong again. Definitely not wrong.
Yeah, like a lot of them adopted Tinder's way of finding people. It's basically a selfie and then their name and a short description.
No,
And
actually,
swipe left or right.
yep. No, actually, I forgot about this. So there's one app I joined because I was shocked on, because like I know how you're talking like appearances and everything, like getting older and like stuff like that. Like D over here, becoming an ancient one. She's completely like zoned right now. But like I was saying, there's one called
I just
Magnet.
don't listen to you anymore.
There's one called Magnet where you're hidden behind an avatar. You get no selfies. You're not even allowed to, like, you post selfies, but the thing is the app won't show you your profile to anyone with a selfie. It'll just show you as an avatar where it lets you talk to them. I believe it's a 10 message limit. Once you each hit 10 messages back and forth, it's either 10 or 4. It's one of the two. I know it's a big difference. But once you get the 10 message limit, now you can see who you're talking to. So that I do like, because one thing, or I will say for like the dating app world, I can kind of vouch for is instead of falling in love with like that Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Aniston, Megan Fox looking babe, or Chris Pratt / Chris Hemsworth slash
Ryan Gosling.
Oh, moist right there. Like you're looking at, instead of like finding that 10 out of 10 profile pic, and then when you see them, they look like Quasimodo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame because they are a miracle at photo editing. It's like, which don't get me wrong, I personally don't feel looks should matter in a relationship. As long as you're doing your best to keep yourself upkept. I mean, if I walk by you and you lift your armpit and I can smell 50,000+ years of BO from there, no, I'm walking out the door as I do. I'm throwing like 20 air freshener bombs behind me. So they're going, please, Christ compel you, bitch. And, I hope you suffocate in that. But it's, like I said, I don't think appearance matters, but I will, again, like I said, I'll give that Magnet app, I'll give that one like a better rating out of all the other apps, because you actually had to talk. And there was a few that I actually got, I want to say it was a 10 message limit, where it then unlocks your profile picture to that person and theirs to you. And I'm like, all right, cool. This actually gets you to know them. Not the same as in person. Call me old fashioned or young fashioned, because I'm just a itty bitty little fucker. Where I feel in public, like going to a bar or a social gathering is much better than, on an app and you're swiping right 1,000 times compared to, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think what I've learned too is if I had to rate a dating app that either like I've looked into or I know someone else has used, I definitely think I've not looked into all the ones I know you have, but I know there's this thing that Hinge does, or not Hinge, it's actually Bumble, and where it's called like a certain time period and they'll have this like speed dating from like I don't know the exact hours. I think it's a certain day, and you don't see the person's like profile picture, and you don't even like you can't even read their name. You get 3 minutes to talk to that person like back and forth, and then from there after you get to decide like, oh, do you want to like continue talking or not? Like you both get to decide, and it's not like the worst thing. I don't think. I think it gives you kind of. I feel like if for me personally, like if a person can't have a conversation, then what's the point of like talking to that person?
You're not wrong. I can vouch with that. I can agree to that.
Yeah.
Because now, especially today, a lot of people that are just like, hey, it's like, hey, and then you're like, what else do you talk about after that? Or if they can't even like bring anything up, if you're like trying, it's just, I feel like effort sometimes is just not always there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Anything else you want to add at all to that, M? M? I think I had the wrong name.
I feel like I've covered most of what I know on dating apps.
Okay. D, any final words on that part? Because then we'll go to our next section of it.
Not necessarily.
Okay, all right. So I know like I said, we looked into ones that we looked into and used. Now, how do we feel? Are they beneficial? How do each you feel on these apps? Like, if you have to go now, we're not going to go like per app, or we can go per app. Do you guys want to go to per app, or do you want to go like is all the apps in general? Are they beneficial or not?
We can do a little bit of both.
Okay, all right. We're gonna let our guest here. Want to have you start off there, Em? How do you feel? Do you feel that as a whole or a separate, however you want to take it, are they beneficial?
I mean, I feel like they're beneficial. It helps people reach out to those that they might not find, let's say at like a bar or a social gathering. It might help them find somebody that, even though, there's the whole swipe left and right, oh, do they look attractive or not? It still helps you, at least those that are looking for it, and dive deeper into a profile than just the picture. It helps them find somebody that they might, so to speak, be more tailored to.
I'll kind of bounce off of that. I definitely agree with that of dating apps can be beneficial in a sense of not even if you're like looking for that relationship, but just meeting new people. I know there's definitely places that um people will use it as like they're traveling or they're moving to a new town and they're like, I just want to meet people so I'm not alone in this like city or wherever I'm living. And I think that's just an interesting way to use those and just even if you are looking for a relationship, that's also it gives you a way to like reach out to people, especially if you don't have like necessarily a lot of people to talk to in the first place.
I can vouch. I can vouch. I'm gonna kind of pull off of both of you now on that. So originally, I was gonna say I don't feel they are beneficial because how they turn to today. You know, it's more of a swipe, meet, fuck, be done. Um, uh, I definitely actually I agree with how you said there, D, when you said like, you know, if you're moving somewhere new, you don't have you're going somewhere like it's just somewhere new, going on a fly. That's like one type of deal. Of course, if you're gonna be there for like a long period of time, not just like a hey, it's like, hey, I'm in Colorado, you know, and I'm from New York, you know, it's cha-ching it, baby. Where it's like, if you're moving there, that's one thing. And then I'll go off of what M said. You're right, because you might not find that person at that social gathering. You might not find them at like your local bar or somewhere local to you. Because how many online relationships have we heard of? I mean, even I've heard of in general where it's like they've worked. The people have gone across country. They've met their spouse, their partner, whatever you want to call it, and they're living their happiest lives. This person, I knew someone that lived in where the hell did she live? I think she was in the UK, and I think she found someone in Florida, and she flew to Florida, met up. They've had like 3 kids, and they're
Oh
happily
wow.
married. And it's like, she never would have found them unless she was on a dating app. I guess like I'll alter my answer then a little with that is before I was going to say no, I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, if they are used for actual dating, not for hookups.
See,
No, if they're used for just smash and pass.
now I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to say they are also not beneficial
Just
in
copy
the
my answer.
sense, whatever you want to say. I think in some sort of way, it's put these standards on society as a general that just seem somehow like unreachable in some degree because especially with dating apps you're thinking like oh like I can meet people, I can find that relationship, and now especially if like people are struggling to find people, it's just like great, now what do I do? And now it just makes you almost feel hopeless of like maybe you won't ever find someone.
Yeah. Yeah, again, that could lead back to the the pressure. It's like, hey, you got to find someone. You have to settle down. You have to find that partner. You need to start a family. You need to think of a future. And that was all right then and there when you just said, hi, my name is right there. You just had that whole future. But how I feel standards are today with the world, especially when it comes from parents or grandparents, friends, other family members, close family or close friends. You got to already have, like, there better be a wedding ring on both them fingers as soon as you shook that person's hand and said hi.
Oh,
So
for sure.
And yeah, that plays onto people's egos. They, depending on how it goes on those apps, if you hit it off with a bunch of people and it goes well, then, you're going to feel like you're on top of the world. But if you're not getting anything, you're going to be like, well, what the hell am I doing?
yeah, you're not wrong, because some people will feel they waste their time on there. But
Yeah.
it's also it's like that's another thing too is you got to show effort, put out there. There's some apps that have posts where you create posts saying like, hey, how's everyone doing today? It's not just always going to be the algorithm, it's called, I believe, where it's swiping left and right, and like looking location. There are some of those that aren't just located or put to your general location. They are actually put to like worldwide, and you can find someone.
And I want to touch back on what Dee said with the whole moving someplace new and just meeting people. I have been on apps before where they actually do ask you, are you looking for a relationship? Are you looking for friends? Or are you just looking for miscellaneous?
Okay. Can you kind of go a little more in depth on that?
So I don't know the app specifically because it's been a while since I've used it,
Hmm.
but I do know there are a few apps out there that do dive into more before you get started. Like, oh, are you here to look for a relationship? Are you here to look for friends? Are you here to look for just new people to meet or maybe a group, like a social group?
Okay.
I can
Okay.
go in depth on that because I do know one of the apps that I'll admit it, I'm on it, but there's actually three options you have, and it's relationship, like a friendship, or what's interesting with this one, and it's uh Bumble, is you get the option of like marketing, like business marketing. Like you can use it to like find jobs, like find um some like put yourself out there and like like business world.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
That is definitely interesting. It really has a dating for that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's I won't necessarily call it dating, but maybe you can match with certain like CEOs, companies. I don't know how that works. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
you
have to look
know,
into that.
Okay.
Tinder's gonna date Twitter.
I don't want to get started on Twitter. I mean, oh my god. Don't ever get me started on Twitter. Um, well, all right. So then we put, are they beneficial? Do they work? Do we feel that they work?
I think in some degree, yes. I've heard positives, I've heard negatives, and I do think at the end of the day, they do have chances of working out for people.
Okay.
I'm gonna play off of what you said at the beginning, where yes, they can work, but at the same time, they might not work. All coming down onto that communication aspect.
Oh, for
It
sure.
it could definitely be a make or break on whether it works or not.
Okay. I can vouch. I'm going to vouch with that. Like I said, it's all going to be, do they work? Yes and no. Again, it's the communication, the honesty, and just like how you said, um, as long as they're used properly. You know, if they're not just there for like a smash and pass or whatever it is, not for a one night stand, not looking for a sugar mama or a sugar daddy, you know, it's just like an actual genuine relationship using the app the correct way. We all know there's hookup apps. We all damn well know it because there's an app for everything out there. I guarantee it. There's apps to open your garage door when you're flying in a plane over Japan and your wife's calling you going, honey, I can't get in the house. And you sit there like, don't worry, baby, I got you. Click, click on your phone. I don't know why I made the click, click sound, but, you know, hey, you know, to get you old farts out there to kind of understand, you know, click, click.
Oh, thank
And
you.
you're welcome. Where like now you open up the garage door, you've unlocked your security for your house. You know, you let the dog out of the crate or whatever. You know, I mean, there's an app for everything. So
Everything,
everything, Mr. Squidward.
Mr. Squidward.
So, kind of leading in, are we done with that topic?
Nope, nope. You go ahead. Go ahead.
So, leading into the next kind of topic here is what is the true use of them?
Now or what they should be.
I would like to get both. I think that's a great opinion on like the both sides of that.
All right, all right. If one of you want to go first on that, I'm happily willing to listen.
I'll let you guys take it away.
I guess I can go. I'm not afraid of interrupting, but I think the true use of Tinder, it's honestly if you're down to fuck. Basically, we can break down some of these. Definitely that's what that's for. Some of your other ones, I don't even know about. I've never done research on eHarmony, Christian Mingle, like this Bumble, Hinge, some of those. I think those do kind of have some use of them of maybe if you want to find a relationship, maybe if you're looking for friends in the area or to meet up with friends in the area, they could work with you. Again, if you're willing to put that effort in and like communicate with people. But again, kind of going off, I think people need to understand that you're not gonna find like someone who fits your appearance. You know what I mean? Like I feel like appearance standards for people tend to be like higher, and especially in this society. So I think kind of what they should be used for more is to actually talk and communicate and not judge people based off of what they look like.
Okay, all right. I'll let you go ahead then, M.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, you don't want to just look at somebody's picture and be like, "Oh yeah, I want to be with them because they're hot."
Meh.
You want to, I mean, I know. Deep down, everybody's like, "Oh fuck yeah,"
Yeah.
but you want to dive deeper than just the picture. You want to get the profile, you want to get the background, you want to get to know them. I've had many friends send me profiles that they see on dating apps of guys and girls. Just you know, oh yeah, look at this dude. Like one of them had his bare ass cheeks shown on the picture. I don't know how it passed, but
Well, he looks like an ass. What do you expect?
I,
Yeah.
I mean, for first impression, he's an ass.
All right.
But yeah, I definitely think you should dive deeper than just, oh, here's a picture of them.
All right. I mean, yep. And then I'll go off of it. Then we'll have is what is a threesome. I feel now the true use is smash and pass. Like I can't get over it. Like I said, all the apps I joined, and I forgot all about Hinge to be honest. But all the apps I've joined and tried and like did my research on, looked through them, explored them, see how they were. If you can get past the money grabbing wall, it's again, it was still just like, hey, what you doing later? I'm bored, or hey, I'm horny, or hey, I'm thinking about you, baby. And I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. And it's like a lot of those are bots, kind of leading back to what you said, like when you're inactive, they get pulled or you get pulled back in. It's more of like, hey, they're just there to get people to not feel lonely. Where, a real dating app should be where you do find that partner, not, we gonna fuck. And then, yeah, it's, I feel now today it is just smash and pass. Find that sugar mama or sugar daddy. Or, it's like, I'm going to cheat on my wife or cheat on my husband or something, somehow, some way. I feel they're really negative. But
So Z, here's my question
all
for
right.
you then. Do you think all dating apps are like that, or do you think there's maybe one or two that you've seen or used or did you research on that potentially has that chance of being used for something other than that?
I will honestly say Magnet. Because usually it's like, I'll say like, I mean, so wow, English got rough real quick there. 1 second. Someone shook the dictionary in my head and man, they left a mess. Um, not all, majority are definitely, we see the photo, we see what they look like. Not good enough for me. They don't make me, wet down below or stiff as a board. It's just, Magnet was the only one I had where it didn't show you what they looked like. It just gave you a name, age, location, whether they're nearby within a certain amount of mileage or, how old they are. You actually get to know them in 10 messages. Granted, I will say you can definitely still speed run that because I had a few where it was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 10. And I just type back, what the fuck are you doing? And they go, quickly send me 9 more messages so I know what you look like. And I just go, fuck, no, peace. And then that's it. And it's like, what the fuck? And so like, if you take time, that's one thing. But 99% of them I feel are just for smashing and passing. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that tonight, but maybe like 1% of all the apps out there that are dating apps, they're actually, that's the true use is they actually are finding partners. They are. They really are.
I'd believe that.
So I think the next. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm shame on me.
No, I'll go off of that. The one that I used, Meet Me, to find the girl that I'm with now, was It was very good in the aspect of diving into what you were trying to look for as far as a relationship. Like it even went as far as to ask you questions of, do you want kids? Do you have kids? Stuff like that. And it would pair you with people that had the same, I want to say, questions,
Okay.
answer the same questions correctly.
Okay. Okay.
So it did have a little bit of a dive into that, but the one thing was it still was that whole picture dilemma of swipe left or right. That's the only downfall to it.
I think that's a lot of downfall to all these dating apps is that swiping. I think that swiping is one of the biggest problems with the dating apps and the smash and pass. It's like, ooh, I can swipe and I can swipe on all these like people that I like their appearance on, and then I'll swipe on the others, and then of course once they start talking to the people that they judged off appearance, it's like, oh crap, maybe this is not the person for me.
Okay. No, like I said, I can see that. You know, it's people. Oh, I'll put it like this to whoever's listening, and you know, if you are living a single life or you're looking to get a partner, I would just have this in the back of your mind. You know, I've said this. I mean, I don't know for how many.
Z is single.
And
Just
he's
putting that out there.
looking to mingle.
I got my hand.
Single as a Pringle, looking to mingle.
No,
Damn.
listen,
But
I'd go after him.
oh, my therapist is gonna need help. But anyways, I forgot where I was going with this thing. Oh yeah, now I remember where I was going with this. She my old age, you know. But no, one thing I'll say is this is you can't judge a book by its cover. We've all heard that. We've all heard that growing up. And if you say you haven't, you're a damn dirty liar. But to everyone that is out there that is single, that is looking for a partner or thinking about it but is too afraid, they said you can't judge the book by its cover. You can't go by the appearance, because would you rather have Prince Charming that's going to beat you and belittle you every single day? Or would you rather have, you know, someone that looks like Quasimodo, but he or she will treat you like a queen or a king, and they'll do whatever they possibly can to make sure you are both happy in this relationship. You know, people will, like, just like you said, it's the image. If they're hot, oh, go for it. If they're not, swipe left. Nope, that's a deny, or whatever way you swipe. That's the biggest thing. I'll give Magnet that credit for that. I'll give them that. That's my, that's how I feel on that.
That's your hot take on it?
Absolutely.
A hot take for a hot man.
Just because
Who is single.
Just because I am
Who is
burning right
single.
now and I'm on fire over here and it hurts.
He's making me sweat.
So I think that basically covers our whole, because I know we have stories personal from what you've heard. Kind of shared a little bit on that. Do we want to share any more personal or stories we've heard that we can think
Okay.
of?
I want to share this with you guys and get your take on it.
Uh-oh. You're asking the
So-
two wrong people.
I know,
Oh.
I know, I'm stepping into the lion's den with this one, but
Yes, you are.
Oh, the
We'll see
burn's
how it
on
goes.
high.
so my freshman year of college, we had this friend group. One of our guy friends was on Tinder, and you know, super big ego, was like, am getting all these matches, getting all these girls, like whatever. And one of my friends was in the room with us when he was like bragging, and she actually looked at him and she said, I bet if D went on Tinder right now, she'd have more matches than you within the hour than you got the whole day. And of course, you know, I can't back down from a bet. She kind of made that bet for me, and he did not believe this. And so I went on, did it, and I will say I had like twice the amount that he did. And it's just, it's one of those things that I don't know if it's just because like I'm a girl, like if that's the reason, or I don't know. I want to get your take on that. I just find that super interesting that I feel like guys and girls are like with Tinder or other dating apps, it's a different like swipe percentage.
I'll let M go first, because I actually have a scenario. You might recall this back in our days, for, you know, the early days of gaming. But
I can think of it.
I'll let you go first.
All right. So Actually, this is a coincidence. Well, I guess you can call it a coincidence. When I was on the dating apps, uh, I actually got a lot of ads on Google that told me percentages of male to female, if you want to call it that, on each app, and it would say, oh, the percentage of male to female on this app is higher or lower, so you might have more chances finding, you know, more girls on this app or more guys on this app.
Okay.
Interesting.
I now, like I said, now mine might get offensive, and I'm going to apologize in advance because you might remember this. You remember when I had an account called Dark Skull Knight?
Yes, sir.
And then I made a girl account called Light Skull Knight, and I wanted to test something on a game called Phantasy Star Universe.
Oh, yes.
You remember when I made that guy cry?
Oh,
So,
yes.
When we were playing Phantasy Star Universe, there was a game. It was a free game to play back in the olden days, and that shit on the Tubi televisions and not the HDMI, but the yellow and white and red cable cords and all them shit. But we were needing help getting supplies. Well, a buddy of mine told me that his sister was going to get into gaming and she wants to play like these kind of games. And of course, when we were younger, we knew he was defensive about his sister. Some of us said, no, don't, because as a girl, she's going to get flooded with a bunch of men messaging her. It's like, no, I don't think she would. We're like, dude, look how we were. We found a girl gamer online. We're like, ooh, a girl gamer. Granted, I know it sounds horrible, but back in the day, that's how it was. Everyone was like that. Usually we'll just leave it at that. But anyways, I made another account and I based myself off as a very intellectual, highly sophisticated woman. Within 2 hours, my friends list now, your friends list on the time, you can only have 100 people. That's max. You can't go past it. In 2 hours, I had a full friends list full of requests. And they're all from men. A few of them might have been from girls, but most of them were from guys saying, hey, baby, what's a girl like you doing on a game like this? Or one of them was, you want to see my dick? And then the next message was, unfortunately, a dick pic. And I'm sitting there going like, dude, I'm a guy. And it's like, they're like, oh, shit. But it's like, I proved to him, I said, like, dude, and like, I'm not trying to be mean. I personally feel when it comes to these things, the girls do have the upper hands. Because just like how you said there, D, you joined the app and you got so many more. There are men that will be desperate enough, or not, I can't say desperate, let me change that. They're willing to go the extra mile to get a girl's attention compared to where a girl may not go that extra mile for a guy's attention. I mean, let's be honest. With the world today, especially with how some men are, if a girl shakes her hips, that guy is drooling. If a guy shakes his hips, that girl might go, what a pig. It's pulled two ways. I'm not trying to be mean or offensive, but you kind of get what I mean. Just like how you said with your example, he was getting matches and then, you turn around and you said, eat shit. And then, you're sitting there with triple the amount. I do feel it's easier for a woman online for dating apps to get that match compared to a man.
Would agree with that. At the same time, as much as it was like great to win that bet, I feel like at some point there's like a part of you that just like doesn't sit right. Like it's just like, okay, a lot of these people are just doing it off of appearance.
No,
and it's one of those things that it kind of goes, you kind of like are like, wow, like seriously, like all of that. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where I don't know, it was great to win the bet and all, but at some point you kind of like think about it and you're like, man, am I really impressed with this? Not really.
Well, no, I was going to add one more thing about it because I was going to say this. So I will give this, though, as a benefit for both sides. Well, kind of a disadvantage for your side, for the girl side compared to the men. Now girls, they may get 1,000 matches within a day. But the problem is you're maybe going to have one out of every 600 or we'll just make it easier. 1 out of 100 are actual good quality matches. You have 99 horny boys and 1 actual genuine man. Where
Oh,
if
yeah.
a man goes on this app and he gets 1,000, if he were to get 1,000 matches, I pretty much guarantee like 900% of, or not 900%, 900 of those are actual genuine matches. Because not, I mean, I'm not saying that both sides, get the little, hey baby, let's hook up later. It's just men are willing to drop, I guess you could, how can I say it? Men are willing to get on their hands and knees and beg right away for it, where a woman can just say, hey, how are you doing? And men will be easily to fall into the hand. So it's like, the men might have better quality in the same amount, but the girl will get them faster, and you just have to weed through the low life losers out there. And sorry, men, for you guys that may be listening to this, but if you're thinking, no, well, I'm always getting brushed, you might be the problem. But yeah, right. It's like, but like I said, it's it definitely hits by either side of the spectrum. When it comes down to it, we may get the better quality, but you're going to get the more responses at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
you'll get more responses, but it might not be the responses you want.
Yeah, you're probably like out
Or
of 1,000.
need.
Yeah, 1,000 of
Or
them.
need.
Yeah, out of 1,000 guys that liked your match with you, like 900 of them probably sent dick pics, and 100 of them are going like, "Hey, I think you're very lovely." Or no, I take that back. 99 of them probably said, "Hey, you're hot," and that one sit there and goes, "I would like to get to know you." Where yeah.
Yeah, for the dick pics. Sorry, sir. You might want to get that checked out.
It's like, that's it. Like, damn, man. It's like, I'm trying to get across the great, Pacific Ocean on a fucking dinghy. I want to get over in a
Sir, I'm
fucking
gonna need you to
speedboat.
take an STI test.
It's one of those that's like unimpressive, block.
That's what you guys say. My dog's is bigger, and then block. Or it's like, I have a better chance on choking on my toothbrush than yours there, buddy. Wow, that really went to a different side of this whole spectrum of
Oh,
this
yeah.
too.
Well,
Damn.
I guess I can't really talk. I'm castrated.
Welcome to the Horny Cast, where today we talk about how to get her done. All right, I think we're going to call it on this one, and we'll go into our next episode. I completely forgot how our endings are.
So I got you covered, Z. Don't worry. Our next episode is going to be about kind of the workplace, maybe some embarrassing stories you have. So our question, since Z is not going to be trigger happy and end it too early again,
It might have stopped
our
the
question for
recording.
you is, what is your most embarrassing work story? And this isn't something you heard of. What is yours? Because trust me, we all have one. Especially if you
don't.
worked for a couple years, Z, you definitely have multiple ones.
All right. So, and of course, if you are still here right now, if you are still here, then apparently you are strong enough to deal with your feelings. Thank you all so very much for listening to us today. And don't forget, the next episode is embarrassing work stories with D and I and our guest. We'll see who our guest will be. Have a good one and good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Whee.